On that very day, King Polachanaka died. Prince Mahachanaka swam towards Mithila with all his strength. He was determined to achieve his goal or die trying. The seas were rough and full of dangerous animals. However, the Devas and guardians of the sea knew that the being exerting tremendous effort was none other than the Bodhisattva, the future Buddha. They protected him and kept all dangerous animals away. Whenever he became tired, the prince would rest for only a few moments, and then he would continue on. He would tell himself that the measure of a man was not how much he achieved, but how much effort he put forth. Whenever he rested, he would try to orient himself in the direction of Mithila. Prince Mahachanaka swam for 7 days and 7 nights. Towards the end of his 7th night, the prince was exhausted. He knew that the end was near. He hadn't eaten or had anything to drink. His muscles ached and seized up. His body was running on pure willpower alone. The prince was determined to give all he had. If he were to die, he would do so while giving the maximum effort he had to give. Unbeknownst to the prince, an ancient Deva named Mani Mekhala guarded this particular section of sea. However, the Deva was busy enjoying herself and had forgotten her duties while the prince continued to exert himself. Suddenly, it occurred to her that she had not looked to the sea for 7 days and 7 nights. When she looked, she saw the great being, and she thought, if Prince Mahachanaka, the Bodhisattva, perishes in the sea, I will lose my position in the divine assembly. She flew down to the prince as he was resting and said, "Who are you, striving here in the mid-ocean so far away from land? Who do you expect will save you if you can swim no longer?" "I am Prince Mahachanaka, and this is my 7th day of exertion. I have seen no living beings in this ocean, and I expect no one to save me." "So then, your strivings will be worthless and in vain, since you will no doubt die in the middle of the sea, not ever reaching your destination." "Why do you speak as such?" "If I were to die, after giving all the effort I can, I will have done my best and earned no blame. He who does not try for fear of failure has failed before he began. Success or failure is not the responsibility of man, nor is it my destination. Rather, my success lies in my effort. I have not much strength left in my body, but I will gladly use it all. I will die knowing I did all that I could. Nothing more could be given, and thus I will have reached my potential. This is the success I will achieve." Honorable being, I commend you on your resolve. You who fights bravely amidst the dangerous and treacherous sea, and shrinks not from the appointed task, but strives with all his being. If you wish it, I offer to take you to your destination. Pray tell me, great being, where is it that you wish to be?" "Mithila." And with that, the goddess swept the prince up into her arms and rested his head in her bosom as if he were her child. She carried him for 7 days and 7 nights. The Bodhisattva slept deeply, and his body was nourished by the divine contact with the goddess's body. Upon reaching Mithila, the goddess placed Prince Mahachanaka on a ceremonial stone in the middle of a mango grove and left him in the care of the goddesses of the garden. On his deathbed, King Pola Chanaka had left explicit instructions for selecting the next king. The king had no sons and only had a beautiful daughter named Siwali Dewi. He told his advisors to choose a king that could satisfy the following conditions: a man who could please Princess Siwali Dewi, a man who knew which side was the head of a square bed, a man who could string the bow, which requires the strength of 1,000 men, a man who could draw out the 16 hidden treasures underneath the city. After the king's death, the advisors tried to find men who could please Princess Siwali Dewi. They sent a general to try his hand. When he arrived, Princess Siwali Dewi tested him to see if he had enough wisdom to hold the royal umbrella. She commanded the general to come to her, and desperate to please her, he ran to her at his top speed. The princess then told him to run to the door. He did so immediately. Then she told him to come back. She did this many times until the general was exhausted. However, desperate to win her heart, the general did not question the orders. Finally, the princess ordered the exhausted general to rub her feet. The general, thinking he had won her heart, quickly bent down to do as she commanded. Seeing as the general had no mind of his own and was wanting for wisdom and sense, she kicked him in his chest and sent him flying. She commanded her guards, "Take this senseless fool and get him out of my sight." When the advisors asked the beaten general how it went, he said, "Forget it. She's a heartless woman. No man can win her love." However, many men were sent to impress the princess. First, the treasurer was sent in. The princess put him to shame and sent him away. Next, the royal bookkeeper was sent in. He too was found wanting and embarrassed by the princess. Next, the keeper of the royal umbrella was sent in. And just like the others, he was sent away. Finding that no man they sent could please the princess, the advisors then sent men to try to decipher which side was the head of a square bed. None could definitely point out which side was the head. Next, the advisors gathered all the strongest men in the country. They had each one try to string the bow. Many couldn't even lift the bow, and those that could barely pull the string back at all. The advisors were stumped and did not know how to proceed. They decided that they would let fate choose the next king. They sent out a royal carriage with no driver. Whoever the carriage stopped in front of would be the next prospective candidate for king. The carriage took off at top speed, and the soldiers and advisors ran behind it struggling to keep up. The carriage passed the houses of many generals, wealthy merchants, and powerful politicians. It just kept running until it entered the deep forest and reached the mango grove where Prince Mahachanaka was still resting. When the horses got there, they all bowed their heads at the feet of Prince Mahachanaka. The royal minister observed that there was a being resting on the stone. He thought, "If he is worthy, he will not pay much attention to us. But if he is not worthy, he will be alarmed and frightened." The Porisat, hearing all the commotion and loud instruments playing, merely uncovered his head and looked around. After seeing the royal umbrella, he knew that his kingdom had come to get him. So he laid back down and covered his head. The royal advisor knew that they had found their king. He bade the musicians to play their trumpets again, and Prince Mahachanaka sat up and looked at the crowd. The minister said, "My king, the kingdom belongs to thee." Prince Mahachanaka asked, "Where then is the king?" "He is dead." "Has he left no son or brother?" "No, my lord." "Then I will take the kingdom." The royal minister anointed the prince as King Mahachanaka. King Mahachanaka mounted the chariot and entered the palace. He entered the dais and gave out positions to all the generals and advisors. The princess, hearing a new king was found, was incensed that he did not first come to see her. She went to the dais to give him a piece of her mind. However, as she watched him enter the throne room, she was impressed by his composure, aura, and elegance. In her eyes, he was like a bright sun descending towards her. When he got close, she could not hold on to her haughtiness, and knelt down and offered her hand, which King Mahachanaka took. Then, he sat down on the throne. What do you think the moral of this story is? We hope you enjoyed the video. Click like if you did, and click subscribe if you want to see our uploads.